I understand if we put the house in our foundation, that we can put the house in our foundation, but can we purchase another house or land if we've gone private? So you can. And I want you to consider this because we have the docs of what it is to take over a property as a private state citizen, and where you get power of attorney over the note. You don't do a recordation because it could trip a few things. I mean, and I'll get into that with you because as a licensed real estate broker, I'm giving you um this is professional counsel. And with all due respect, I've done thousands of transactions in the loan business, plenty of hard money, private capital transactions, real estate transactions. I've done chain of title trainings 9 hours long. This is one thing I can talk with surety. So if it were me, because interest rates are already at 5.5, 6%, which is incredibly low right now. It still is incredibly low. But you have houses now in 1 million, 2 million, and that interest rate isn't really feel that low. You got $1 million house at 2 or 3%, you're at 2,000 a month. Seriously, it's low. But if you're in $1 million house at 5%, you're at 46 to 4,900 bucks a month, somewhere in that neighborhood. And so it's kind of scary to think, what are we going to do? I still need to be able to use the social. I still need to be able to finance, and I disagree with that. The use of the social has to be done in a form and fashion that really protects you. And number one. Number two, you're not helping yourself. You're not coming out in theory because you're making the bank the exact equivalent amount of money that you're signing on that note, plus all interest in advance. That's how they get paid. So if you do a note, they turn it over and they pay to the order of Wells Fargo Bank, sign it as vice president. So here's the irony is Wells Fargo is giving you the loan. Why are they flipping your note over like a check and endorsing it? It's because it is a check. It is a check. That money gets pulled off the treasury account. It does. And it goes through the Federal Reserve window and prepays the bank all interest and all principal. Do you want to participate in that? No, I don't either. So 10 or so years ago, I created docs in the private, how to assume a transaction, because there's going to be plenty of failed properties out there, failed land, failed whatever, at 2.5%, 3%, 4% note rates, where you can do an assumption on that. Walk up to the owner, look, I know you're losing your house. I can help you out. I would love to help you out. It'll save your credit. This is what we can do. And boom, 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 give him the offer. And he'll be like, heck yeah. And he walks with a $5,000 or $10,000 bonus just for doing it. And you are going to pay that in loan fees anyway. You know what I'm saying? And that way, you take control of the note, you take control of the deed. There is a such thing as holding and retaining a grant deed in the private unrecorded. And if you were to look up the word counter deed in Black's law, it actually trumps the public side deed. It's a private deed, but it trumps the public side recordation. So anytime it's presented, it will trump any public side recordation. So if somebody were to try to record something on top of your deed that you hold in the private, it would trump your public side recordation because you're holding a private deed. So my point that I'm trying to make is we're called to come out, but can you come out, be wise as a serpent, soft as a dove, and make deals in the private with people? Absolutely. You know what's going to happen in the next few years? Landslide of foreclosures. Landslide. Properties, I have a feeling, are going to stay on the high side, but the sales are going to come down. But you have BlackRock, $10 trillion asset company paying 1.5 times the value of properties in the past year, 2 years consistently. Why? It's because the real estate, gold, silver, real estate, food, ammo, guns, the hard assets are going to be holding the high values, extremely high values. All the weakest of values are going to be fiat currency system structures. And that's why everything that they're doing in all their executive orders right now are CBDC, investigative. Just read the whole thing on Biden's March executive order. And it very much is clear they are investigating a negative interest rate and the implications thereof. Guess what they're telling us? If you know what a negative interest rate does, what does it do? It pulls the cash out of the society. And what does cash get replaced with? A chip eventually embedded. But that's where they're at. So we want to be able to take these private transactions, and you can still do a private transaction and nobody knows about it. In the future, if you're going to try to do one of these public side transactions where you use your credit, you're just getting in bed, and it's going to be way worse, way harder. I don't care how good your credit is, how 800 FICO score you worship. It doesn't matter to me. What matters is you stay private. You look into private side remedies, and the real estate markets will allow for you to come in and do assumptions of loans that are existing good interest rates. Even if they're 4%, you can find some land in a good area. It's better than doing a new purchase by far.